Thank you very much, Vice Minister. Now we will start presenting the blocks of that we have in the program. And our first speaker is Alonso Huerta Cruz. He is the General Director of Hidalgo Science and Technology and Innovation Council, also the President of the National Network of Councils of Science and Technology, known as REDNACECyT, and the General Coordinator of the Hubs in Mexico, part of the Global Network MX, who will talk about the government and local responses during this pandemic. Welcome, Alonso, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Hello to everybody. Good afternoon in Czech Republic and good morning here in Mexico. First of all, I want to thank to the hosts for the invitation received to participate in this webinar and congratulate to all of them for setting up this excellent initiative. I cordially salute to Martina Tuberova, Deputy Minister of Industry and Trade of the Czech Republic. And of course, always it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to greet Leonor Rueda, the Ambassador of Mexico in that country. Also, I would like especially to recognize the work of Atsiri Moreno from the Central Bohemian Innovation Center and the Global Network of Mexicans, for her effort to get closer the innovation ecosystems of both countries. I really believe that always is a positive establish an open dialogue with other countries in order to share policies, projects, and opportunities for collaboration. But when you are in a time of crisis, as this time, this exercise is crucial because time and opportunity are vital to give a prompt response to emerging challenges. In these dynamic processes, it's important to learn from the experience of others about different approach regarding similar problems, and then have more elements and tools to create better solution in a faster way. At the same time, it's an extraordinary opportunity for build new bridges for cooperation between our societies and several layers, as the Deputy Minister said, in economic, in academic, scientific, among others. Having said that, I share with you a presentation about the things that the state level governments are doing now in Mexico. I don't know if you can see my screen. Yes, okay, perfect. And I talk a little bit about the organizations that I have the honor to represent in this occasion. The REDNACECyT is the National Network of Councils and Organizations of Science and Technology in Mexico. Mexico is a country of 32 entities, states. It's a federal system. It's a very big country. And there are 32 local governments that work together with the federal government and the municipality governments in order to establish and coordinate public policies. In particular, REDNACECyT integrate all the state authorities in the sector of science, technology, and innovation as a big organization for promote public policies in this area, for coordinate efforts between states and other actors, especially the federal government, but private sector, academic sector, all the integrates of the national system of science, technology, and innovation in the country. As our ambassador said in her message, we work together with the federal government. We work with the National Council of Science and Technology, and she mentioned the efforts that the federal government are doing. I focus my presentation in the efforts that the state level government are doing now in order to give a good response to the pandemic through science, technology, and innovation. Well, this is the REDNACECyT, and the other. Okay, The other organization is the Mexican Global Network that integrate a lot of Mexican who live abroad and are highly skilled and qualified and want to work for establish projects and support the development in Mexico. Is a very big organization with 62 chapters around the globe. And the counterpart in Mexico are the hubs of Mexican Global Network that are public, private, social organizations who work to promote development in different regions of Mexico, counting with the support of these Mexicans that live abroad, and develop some projects in order to promote the regional development in Mexico. All of them work in innovative initiatives with a strong social and economic impact. There are 70 hubs across the country. The expectative is that in 1 or 2 years we can have 32 hubs in all the country and work with 62 chapters around the globe. With this work, we have the opportunity to have a very good understanding about the ecosystem of innovation in Mexico and the responses and policies implemented by the state level institution to fight the pandemic during the last months. As other kind of crisis, this pandemic has been an extraordinary booster for innovation. The need of give a quick and effective response to the novel disease and to all the new problems and situations created with its disruption. We know, for instance, that during the wartime, always have been an innovation explosion for the need of face the challenges about the military confrontation, creating new knowledge and technology that later have a positive impact in people. Fortunately, we are not in a wartime, but we face a very big challenge, all the world, and considering the things that happening in this time, I'm sure that all the knowledge, technology, and innovation that is emerging will have an extraordinary impact, not just in this moment, especially in our future. For that reason, we create a national repository, and we call National Innovative Response Tracker, in order to identify all the efforts that in the state level are doing for face this challenge in a very different way. The objective is know about the similar projects and catch new ideas, learning from the efforts and experience of others, and identify opportunities for collaborate between the actors that are developing these kind of initiatives. Now, we have a strong catalog of best practices and detailed map of the innovative response across the country. And as a result of this exercise, we have now a lot of good number of collaborations between governments and institutions from different states, giving a bigger and stronger impact to these initiatives. I present now a summary of this analysis of all these initiatives that we identified across the country. For example, more than 100 projects and initiatives with innovative response to pandemic are identified that are in development or has a result in Mexico. All of the projects and initiatives was proposed and developed by academics, entrepreneurs, companies, healthcare staff, social organizations, and supported in all cases by state government. I mentioned it before, there are a lot of efforts for the federal government, but in specific, this tracker is focused in the state level governments. And one of the things that I can see when review all the information is that the wide range of the profiles of the people and the organizations that are working for give a response, an effective response to these problems. It's a social problem, and all the society are involved in attend this important challenge. Other conclusion is the supports offered by governments was given by different ways, like calls, challenge, hackathons, consortiums, collaboration agreements, among others. I mean, there are a lot of possibilities and ways to establish this project and give support in order to have the best results for the people. And the response, there are a wide range of categories, is very diverse, the responses that we identify. From scientific research, for example, there are works in genetics, microbiology, virology, epidemiology, clinical essays, and protocols for healthcare, for example, and there are a lot of areas that are working now in technology development area, in medical devices development, for example, all the ventilators projects that there are in Mexico, robotics, the use of robotics, mechatronics, and development of new materials, or use the new materials in develop different type of equipment. And in innovation, just for mention some of the projects, development of personal protective equipment with innovation conditions, with new materials, with different kind of processes, all the data science using for epidemiology models or identify some of the trends that can support make better decisions, sanitation systems, and tracking apps, for mention just a few cases. And I think this is a big picture about the things that Mexico institutions of academic sector, companies, entrepreneurs, and government are doing for attend this important challenge. And I just want to mention two cases, two states, for question of time, because in each state there are a lot of results. Daniel Jacobo from Jalisco State will be presenting some of the results of Jalisco, other very dynamic state in Mexico who is working in innovation for attend the pandemic. But I mentioned that the case of is Mexico City. The government of Mexico City is a state, is considered a state in Mexico, and they have developed a very strong work. They established a task force, a working group who integrate the most important higher education institutions in Mexico, the National Institutes of Health, the companies and entrepreneurs that are working in this area, and they develop a lot of projects, creating solutions and products for all the health care system. For example, in personal protective equipment for the people, they develop and produce face shields with graphene. They deliver 1 million in the subway system in Mexico. We have to remember to Mexico City is one of the biggest city for population around the world, and they develop 35,000 of this kind of face shields in the central market, and they develop booths and incubators, dressing grounds, and graphene masks, and other examples. For example, they develop a N95 mask for the healthcare staff in the city, support to hospital infrastructure, and all that they are working in epidemiology surveillance. This is the case of Mexico City. Of course, it's a very short resume about all the actions. In the other hand, we have the example of Hidalgo State. For example, we published a call for access to the Sincrotón light time to combat to COVID-19 in collaboration with the Paul Scherrer Institute. This project has supported 5 projects in this moment. The state of Hidalgo, with the support of the Governor Omar Fayad, is financing these projects, and the Instituto Paul Scherrer Institute in Switzerland are giving the access to the light of Sincrotón in order to identify different kind of projects in the way that we can face the COVID. For example, they are studying about the evolution or mutation of the virus, develop diagnosis about the way that is reproducing the virus, and develop medication and vaccines necessary to combat the virus and prevent its spread. Other collaborations that in Hidalgo State are developing now is with the Harvard School of Public Health in collaboration with the Hidalgo State. We developed a program of prevention of health risks for COVID-19 in education and economic sectors. And with BioBot, a spin-off of MIT that are focused in analyze the sewage as a source of information about the pandemic. We can identify, studying, analyzing this sewage, the level of presence of the virus in the population, in specific in the 5 biggest cities in the state, for mention so only a few examples. And I want to finish my presentation with a very short reflection about the impacts and the lessons of this pandemic. Of course, a pandemic that brought a strong change in our life, has satisfied all our style of life, that has caused thousands of lives around the world, that brought a health and economic crisis, but in the other hand, brought other opportunities and have a positive lessons. One of them, I think the most important, is that now more people and more politicians understand that science, technology, and innovation are strategic. They have to be the top of the priorities of the society. All can saw during the last months that the solutions, that the understanding of the problem comes from the scientific, from the technology and innovation area, and we have to support and understand and take advantage in better way of these activities for make a better development of the humanity around the world. Other good lesson is the relation between politics and science. We identified that we need more science and less political decisions, that the public policies must be based in evidence, that politics must be supported and make an effort for bring the scientific vision and the science background to the political area, and put in the top of the agenda this kind of collaboration. The third lesson is that is a team effort that I said before. We need to collaborate. We need to identify the things that we can contribute and put with the effort, the other people, the other actors, other institutions. We really see the intention of the people to contribute, to help, to solve this kind of challenge in the private sector, entrepreneurs, academics, and we need to give the elements, the environment, and the support for work together and try to create better solutions. And not just inside the country. For example, this webinar is a very good example. We need to cooperate and collaborate with other institutions, with other agents, with other people in other parts of the world. And I think this webinar is an excellent opportunity to establish this kind of links and try to dynamize this process in a better way. And the last lesson is that innovative response are necessary. Of course, new problems, new challenges demand new approaches and new solutions. And this is an important driver for the present and for the future of our societies. Innovation has to be in the center of the development model, and we have to build these capacities for attend not just the crisis that we are facing now, especially, but the crisis that will be in the future. The humanity will be facing during the next year. And with this reflection, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much. And I really want to share with all of you that the REDNACECyT and the hubs of the Mexican Global Network are open and very interested to establish links and cooperate with the institution of Czech Republic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, hello again, back from Prague. And thank you so much, Alonso, for your interesting contribution. I think we've actually seen a lot of overlap in the lessons that we have learned here and what you have learned and what you just talked about. Definitely a swift and pragmatic political response was an important element for us as well. And you will actually see it in the following presentation, the way we introduce certain programs to support innovation and actually get some results that in some ways are actually similar to the ones that you presented. I won't